up, food family? It's me, Clezzy, sitting here today with my other food family, my man John, my man Ray. We about to sit down and chop it up with y'all. Talk a little bit about some of the food that's here in Kansas City, Missouri, some of them spots that we really don't know about. And while we talk about some of these different things, we're going to talk to you about the restaurant, its structure, its food, how it's laid out, things of that nature. But we also going to sit down, we're going to enjoy one another, we're going to have different topics, we're going to play games, and we're going to let y'all know about some things that y'all might have possibly not even known about. Today, we decided our first episode was going to deal with one of the staples of Kansas City, Missouri. Everybody know it's barbecue.
Barbecue.
We got our top five. John, what's those top five that you consider?
I mean, you got the big five. You got Q39, you have Arthur Bryant's, you got Joe's, you got Gates, and you got Jack Stack. That's probably the top five of Kansas City.
Most well, you would agree with that, Ray?
Most definitely.
Most well,
no order.
There you go.
No order.
Yeah, no order. Jack Stack.
But typically, this is what happens. You'll get family come in town. They'll ask you, hey, look, take me to your best spot that you can think of regarding barbecue. And most of the time, we focus on the top five.
Right.
I'm trying to put other people on the map. I'm trying to find those hole-in-the-wall spots where people don't know about them, but they just as fire, just as delicious as those top five.
Agreed.
Today, we decided to travel up north. We found a spot called Scott's Kitchen.
Yep. Up near the airport.
We're going to upload some photos so you can see some of the spread, but we're going to talk about a few things in regards to Scott's Kitchen because it's a whole bunch of things that was going on in this first episode. So with that being in mind, we're going to get to it. Now, I got a couple of questions that I'm going to ask my people that's with me, and we're going to see if we all can come up with the same type of answers in regards to some of these things.
Sure.
First thing is, what makes a good food experience?
I think a good food experience, Clee, has to start with pretty much the whole. It's exactly that. It's an experience. It has to be everywhere from cleanliness of the restaurant to the ambiance to the food. But obviously, the food is the base. Like if you don't have good food, it doesn't matter. Nice looking waitresses don't care. Like clean restaurant don't care. Like ambiance don't care. If your food is trash, your restaurant is trash. That's your whole reason for being there is your food.
Right.
What do you think, Ray?
But for the whole dining experience, it's sometimes customer service things can be made up for your whole experience. But like you said, if the food ain't good, then it's kind of can't really go too much further than that. You know what I'm saying? But
Check this out. This is what I want to think about when you're talking about a dining experience. Now, me and John were married. Ray potentially might be married in the future sometime, but think about it in the standpoint of this. Have you ever eaten angry food?
Angry food?
That's what I mean, angry food. Have you ever had somebody prepare you a meal, but they were mad at you?
You know what? I haven't. Because my wife flat out, that's a refusal. If she's upset, it's not happening. Like, hey, can you make me grilled cheese? Make it yourself. Like, oh, okay. Like, it's not a deal.
I think I've had a couple angry meals.
How'd they taste?
Delicious.
See, depending on who you are. Actually, I don't think that's how it starts. But now it does start that way. The reason why I'm saying that, you got to draw two, buddy. The reason why I asked that, you do. He said draw two.
You got to draw forward.
You can't do me. You already drawing two.
Nah, he can play on top.
Oh, okay. Well, you draw your two first.
No, he doubles you up, and you end up with whoever the last card is. You have to add four. You got to draw two.
You got to draw two.
Hey, man. So I got to draw four?
Yeah, you do.
Yes, sir.
Now, I don't even know if they know I play Uno, but I don't remember for a long time. But the reason why I was saying that was because when you're talking about atmosphere, when you're talking about a dining experience, all those things encompass a good dining experience. What I mean by that, if I'm upset, food might not taste as good. If you're upset,
food's gotta have love.
Preparation might not be the same way. So you already emotionally detach yourself from the dining experience. So when it comes to a restaurant, if you got a waitress that's her emotional state is all jacked up and she's not really giving you good customer service, or the cook is doing something, you can typically tell how it tastes in the food.
Your waitress having a bad day, your drinks are empty half the time.
See? Right. So that affects your experience in the dining setting. Like I said, you might be thinking about having a meal,
You get your 4, dog?
I got my 4. You might be thinking about having a meal, but because you so emotionally detached from it, it doesn't even, now you're like, man, I don't even want it no more.
Right.
It don't taste the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about dining experience, all those things come into play.
And me personally, I worked in a, don't skip me like that, it's all good.
Skip.
I worked in the kitchen, man, for a little bit, and I was able to see how important, you know, it is. You know, when we first started our shifts, is this on me?
Nah, he hit me with the draw too.
Oh,
So it is your turn.
Yeah, when we first started our shifts, man, the head chef, he would get everybody together,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll have a, you know, quick little prep talk and everything. And that was my first time experiencing how important it is, like, to really be focused and locked in, because, you know, we prepping, we preparing people's meals, which is, you know, and it's something that's taken very seriously. You know, of course food's taken seriously, but I didn't really realize it until I was actually hands-on, you know,
sure.
in the kitchen, and realizing, hey, you got to be focused, you got to be locked in, 'cause,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
One of my favorite business models actually is the 5 Ps. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. And in the restaurant industry, it's big because, like you were saying, like you have food prep, and you just have a conversation about how you expect the night to go. Hey, we're expecting, if it's a nice restaurant, they talk about the word covers. We're expecting 86 covers, tonight. This is how we're going to break it all down. So all that stuff goes into a good dining experience.
So with that being said,
Is it my turn?
how will we evaluate Scott's Kitchen based off your dining experience? We haven't gotten to the food yet, but just based off of the dining experience, me personally, when I pulled up to the restaurant, I got that homey feel. Really small, really quaint. When I walked through the door, you know, it's kind of hard to see smiles, you know, with the mask now.
Yeah.
But I can also tell that all the customers that were there liked to be there. They
Yeah.
enjoyed the atmosphere of being there. It was well kept up. Pictures all on the wall. Awards are all around the wall.
Yep.
So it definitely, when you walked in there, at least the picture that it portrayed to me was, we're about barbecue here.
I would
We
agree.
want you to feel comfortable. We want you to feel as if it was like maybe, you know, back in the backyard with uncles, aunties, and, you know, family reunion style, where it's like, okay, look, we're not going to overlook you.
I think the overall experience at Scott's Kitchen was really, really good. It's, you know, it's probably not the greatest because we'll get into some food later, but the overall experience was really, really good. Greeting was solid. Like you said, can't tell people are smiling, but there was a warmth to their greeting. It has a nice vibe. It's only, like you said, it's 6 tables, guys. Like, it's 6 tables, so you're not exactly in your neighbor's lap, but there's a kind of, like you said, a homey vibe, like you're at home type barbecue thing, as opposed to a giant restaurant where everybody's separated.
Right. Yeah, like you said, we don't get to the food, but, you know, when we sat down, you know, we didn't wait very long for, you know, our food to come out. You know, that's always a good experience to have when you're dining in. You know,
Yeah.
so you be there, you waiting for a long time. That's usually a big problem for a lot of restaurants.
You start to have an irritated experience. Yeah.
All right, bet. All right, well, that ends the first quarter. That was a great topic. Now we're going to start to dive into some of the food and what our experiences was with the food and how we thought it tasted and things of that nature. So, with that being said, what y'all think about the food?
Like on an overall tip, I thought the food was good. Not the best barbecue I've ever had, but only one real complaint, and I think you guys can touch on this as well, and that's their brisket. Their brisket was, so it's one of those weird things where it was tender, as in it wasn't super chewy, but it was dry and lacking fat. Does that make sense? Like, it wasn't like tough, but it wasn't moist. It wasn't juicy.
Right.
And that's a big thing for me. And everybody's got their own preference in barbecue, but when I look at most cuts of meat in barbecue, I'm looking for some fat content for flavor and moisture.
Yeah, brisket was definitely not the best. It was dry, but what was it? What was the dish that we got? What was it called? Was it just like
It was the platter.
The platter.
It was the platter. It was the sampler.
Okay, yeah. So we was able to get a variety of pretty much everything they had.
Yep.
And with that being said, I mean, for the most part, you know, like you said, it wasn't the best that I had, but no complaints really.
Right.
You know, as far as the overall food. But,
Yeah.
I enjoyed the hot sauce. They got a burning
Afterburner?
Afterburner. It's a under the table sauce that they had. They brought it out, and I was impressed.
I would say the name's accurate too, because it doesn't hit you right away, but it lingers, right? Like it's
when y'all go try it. And they have a lovely waitress there that will give you $1 if you want to drink the whole little shot cup of it. So
don't do it. It's not worth $1.
So what we gonna do, because we talking about the dining experience, we talking about how we evaluate the food. One of the things we got to be clear when it comes to barbecue is different people go eat different types of barbecue. Some people are there for the ribs. Some people are there for the brisket. Some people are there for the burnt ends. Some people are there for the pulled pork.
Agreed.
So in order for us to properly define how we actually feel about the actual barbecue, I think we need to specifically categorize what we're talking about and categorize what we feel about that.
Sure.
So if we're gonna start at the top, let's start with the ribs. Me, I'll start with that person. I love a good rib. With me, ribs can fall off the bone. I've had some like that that are delicious. And then there's ribs that can snap when you bite into it. The rest of the meat remains, and only the meat that you snap into comes off. And I know depending on different competitions, people have certain preferences. Me, I prefer to just have good meat.
Right.
I just want a good barbecue taste. I'm not too big into sauces. I think the best barbecue are sauceless. If your barbecue requires sauces, then I think that you lack the skills when it comes to seasoning actual barbecue.
So you're covering stuff up.
Right. The ribs that we had at Scott's kitchen didn't require sauce. They were delicious without the sauce.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
I
sauce would have. Well, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I agree with Clee. I think that they had enough flavor as far as the rub that they use. Where, you know, if you're somebody who feels the need for sauce just for moisture, I didn't think they needed it. I mean, that's something I could say for sure. But I would just agree with Clee that that was a good bite of meat.
Yeah, it was. And I think with the sauces, it just depends. It's not that it needed it. It's just one of those things. If that's what you like, you know, if you like some sweet or hot sauce, then or whatever the case may be, then you know. But like you said, it definitely didn't need it.
What about you, Ray? Do you have a preference about falling off the bone versus a snap bite, or is it more again just about overall flavor and feel?
Just overall flavor, and you know, if it's not too tough, you know, it's a smooth bite. Yeah,
I agree.
All right, well, the brisket. You covered the brisket.
We did.
You covered the brisket. With me,
slightly covered it. I mean, yeah.
Well, go into detail. What you think about that brisket? I mean, if you wanted to detail to explain the reason why you didn't feel it was up to par.
Usually, that, like you said, kind of touched on the fattiness and just when good brisket is, it's kind of, I don't know, it's moist. It's you know, it's tender, you know, and their brisket, it just didn't give me that feel, you know.
Agreed.
just
Those particular slices at that time, they weren't dry, so to speak, but you know, I've had brisket to where the fork itself can break it apart just by, and that's what I was looking forward to having. Once again, the fatty content is very important. I don't think the flavor was bad, but once again, when you compound all those different elements with it, it didn't give me the actual experience that I'm looking for in brisket. So if I was to recommend brisket, not based off of that one platter, I wouldn't recommend the brisket in that sense.
At Scott's Kitchen.
At Scott's Kitchen.
Gotcha.
For that particular instance.
Okay.
But if, like I said, going forward, I think it could really utilize some of that fatty content to go along with it. I think that will keep it above subpar to me personally.
Right.
But once again, I also understand that there are different types of taste when it comes to brisket too. Some people like it lean.
Right. That might be. Hey, if you like lean brisket, this is the joint for you.
Right.
Go to Scott's Kitchen up near the airport.
So we want to make sure to keep that clear. If you're lean ass, that's a perfect opportunity and a perfect meat for you to have. If you're somebody who prefers some of that fatty flavor, this is not one of the
Is it my go?
areas in which you want to order. Now that we did the brisket, the pulled pork.
Pulled pork. So, a little bit of a disclaimer. I make barbecue at home, and my specialty that I do most of the time is pulled pork. Draw 8 and give me red.
Everybody, both of them?
No, just him.
I was draw 4.
I know it's blank. I can make it whatever I want.
Yeah.
Welcome to Uno. But that pulled pork was pretty good. I thought I had a clump where it wasn't shredded as well as I would have liked. Flavor was really solid. And I'm personally a fan of somebody who adds moisture content back into it after it's shredded. Little apple juice, a little bit of something. I think it could have used that as well. But flavor and smoke, like the smoke feel of it, I tasted a bit of the bark. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I wanted to make a sandwich. I would have been totally fine with just having a pulled pork sandwich from. Like that's something when I go back, if I'm just solo, making moves up there.
Look for the pulled pork sandwich.
That'll be my next goal.
Gotcha.
I'm totally agreed. Hey, the pulled pork was fire. Scott,
and I got Uno too, by the way.
You did make me want to pull the pork the way it's supposed to be pulled.
Uno.
I'm getting pulled in both directions.
So if you agree, let's move on to turkey. What about turkey?
Let's go.
Yo.
Uno.
Jive turkeys on this.
I guess since I won, I'll get dive in with the turkey. The turkey, off the eye test, I didn't think it was gonna be good.
Right.
But when I bit into it, it was tender. It was juicy, and it had that fat to it. It wasn't thin sliced. It was thick. And usually when you get thick pieces of turkey like that, you don't normally get it real juicy.
Right. But it's losing its moisture. And everything.
But it was compounded in, and it was good. Like I said, but off the eye test, I didn't think it would be, but it was deceiving for me.
For sure. You asked me a question at the restaurant about like what type of man sandwich would you make, and I told you not turkey. But honestly, if it was that turkey,
yeah,
I could make myself a turkey sandwich and be all right.
And I think you said that too at the with this between some bread. And,
absolutely, it was delicious. I mean, once I bit into that turkey, I cut half and gave the other half, and should have kept all of it.
and you kind of had us going a little bit because when we asked you, you kind of was just like,
he was trying to get us not to eat the turkey so he could keep the turkey. Scott,
I ain't mad at it. Dude.
You did a great job on your turkey.
Most
definitely. Yeah, it was really
turkey
good.
Was fantastic.
Man.
We also had some sausage. Now, I'm not a sausage connoisseur. The only sausage that I can think of in my head is either breakfast sausage or Polish sausage.
Bratwurst, Italians.
Right. So I kind of had mentally prepared myself for a certain type of feel in my mouth.
Mouth
I was
feel,
looking for a snap, a little bit more sturdier, I guess would say, feel when I bit into the sausage.
What was it actually called?
It was a ghost pepper jack sausage.
Okay. Yeah.
So when I bit into it, it surprised me because it was a little softer than what I was expecting. And I think that mentally checked me out.
Okay.
It didn't allow me to really delve into the flavor as much because I was expecting something else.
Sure.
So once that actually happened, I really didn't get a chance to actually fulfill whatever it was trying to accomplish in my mouth. And I kind of just pushed back because I wasn't used to something that direction. But now, if I was to try it again, I would be going in it with a different mentality you know, to say, okay, look, this is actually how it's supposed to feel. This is actually what it's going to be like when
Sure.
I taste it. So
Sure.
it wasn't really my cup of tea, but you know,
I think the sausage wasn't terrible, but it wasn't the best, you know, on a platter for me. You know, and like you said, the texture really didn't bother me too much as the taste. Like I said, I think I was expecting, I don't know what I was expecting. It just wasn't. Like I said, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't the greatest for me though.
Sure. I think this sausage for me, fellas, really, I had mixed feelings about it. The mouthfeel definitely did not bother me. Get a bit of color on it. The mouthfeel didn't bother me at all. I mean, I've had sausages like this before. What really threw me off is that he said he took some of that afterburner sauce and kind of made that as like the mother or the base of some of the seasoning, and it wasn't hot to me at all. So when I see the description of ghost pepper jack sausage,
That's enough.
I'm expecting spice. I'm expecting almost too much spice for me to handle, and I'm okay with that because that's what I'm expecting.
Right.
And it was, from me, the exact opposite. So
It had a little kick to it.
did it?
A little kick to it.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say
we
it's
might have
different.
different sensitivities of spices then, because for me it was like, this is nothing
Right.
at all. So I mean, Scott, I would say good work on your sausage. I mean, it's
an acquired taste.
it's an acquired taste for sure. I would say a recommendation that I would have is, you know, you got the word ghost in there, like for ghost pepper. I need a little bit more heat in that type of description.
Sure.
Wings? He's shaking his head.
rule number one: whenever you see somebody start off by shaking their head, they are thinking about how delicious it was.
Facts, hard facts. My
Scott, them
turn.
wings,
Yeah.
fantastic.
No sauce needed.
My turn. Okay.
No sauce needed. They were smoked to perfection. Delicious. I recommend anybody who wants some wings, whether sit down or catered, to definitely check out Scott's Kitchen in regards to the wings.
I would agree.
Most definitely. There's really nothing too much to be said about the wings. The wings is fire.
Now, I think we tried different ones though. We tried them without sauce and we tried them with sauce. You and I tried the one with the white
Right.
barbecue sauce. I know we all had one that was sauceless, right?
Right.
With sauce, without sauce, does sauce need it?
No
Like what?
sauce needed.
No
No
sauce.
sauce is needed. Now, if you prefer, if you like
right.
a little sauce on it, there's nothing wrong with it. The white sauce, it wasn't bad.
No,
It wasn't.
It kind of gave me that, as I was explaining to you, that garlic parmesan feel.
What was
the
that
red
actually
sauces.
called? You remember what it's called?
Just a white barbecue sauce.
It was
That's
a
what he
white. It
called
was a white sauce. But overall, like I said, the meat, the foundation always starts with the base meat and seasoning.
In barbecue,
If you can
yeah.
do the base meat and seasoning, everything else is just candy on top of it.
Okay.
So if you want to add sauce to it, you adding candy to it because you don't need it at all. It's delicious without.
And the smokiness was contained in the chicken. Like you.
It was
You did
moist
you
chicken too. Like you said, just shake your head like.
Right.
Absolutely. So that was all the meats.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had the sides. We were given some potato salad.
Yep.
We was given some cheesy potatoes,
Yep.
some coleslaw, and
Some beans.
and some beans. But let's start with the cold stuff. The coleslaw.
Coleslaw.
What y'all think about the coleslaw?
Go ahead, Ray. I'm interested to hear what you have to
Sweet.
say on that.
It was sweet. Sweet coleslaw. It was. Traditionally, with me, coleslaw is real chopped and fine cut. You know,
Yeah, real fine dice.
fine diced, and that was the opposite of the coleslaw. I think with that, different folks, different strokes. I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Yeah, I would agree.
you know, it's not that it was bad or anything, but so sometimes I know for me, coleslaw, you know, I don't really care for thick pieces of lettuce or whatever. So that's what, you know, the taste wasn't bad at all, but you know, it's just different preference on how you like your coleslaw.
Sure. I think for me, I really like their coleslaw.
It was
The consistency of the cabbage and the carrots and everything else they put in it doesn't really bother me per se. I've had it, like you said, both ways. I understand the expectation of like smaller dice. I actually prefer, I think, thicker chunks.
more creamy.
Yeah.
Type of
Yeah.
deals. That's kind of the opposite of it.
Yeah.
You know.
And this one had a little bit more sweetness to it than a lot of coleslaw I've had before, and I actually preferred the sweetness. So, red.
Bro, I don't think that's how this works.
It is how it works.
How can you tell somebody to draw forward?
Put a draw 4 down. You put another draw 4 down.
Draw 8.
But ain't he supposed to draw 4 on top of
No.
that? Because it defeats the purpose.
No, it doesn't. It defeats the purpose for you.
Stacks.
Hey, man.
Stacks. Tap in with us if we doing it
Yeah,
wrong.
give me a comment in the chat like, hey, if you think you can't stack cards in Uno.
Hey, man, this is like the coleslaw, man. This is all over the place. But, hey,
So what do you think of the coleslaw? After you
Honestly-
take your 8 cards.
man, I'm doing this first. Honestly, you know, the taste wasn't bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all.
Understanding barbecues and different functions, sometimes coleslaw can be actually the staple of a side dish to go along with meals. It kind of gives you that cooling down,
Mm-hmm.
smooth feeling, you know,
Yeah.
to go along, that crunch to go alongside with, you know, some of your other items. And this particular thing, it definitely had the crunch. It definitely had a unique flavor that I'm not used to, because typically, you know, in your coleslaws, you know, with your mayonnaise and
Mhm.
things of that nature, it goes with that creamier side
Yeah.
as opposed to the more dry. It's not necessarily dry, but just as creamy as.
Maybe he was. I don't know, Scott. Maybe for your coleslaw was looking to be more natural, maybe, or more. I don't know.
I think I understand what
You
you're
know what I
saying.
mean?
Like a more natural slaw, not
Mhm.
necessarily functioning on the actual
Liquid or
creamier
sauce,
liquid. So,
yeah.
and if that's the case, then I understand it and I get it.
Right.
It still gave me the crunch that I was looking for.
Yeah, it's a
It's just-
textural difference too.
Right. It just didn't give me that textural desire that I was looking for.
Oh,
But
yellow.
the overall flavor,
He can get his 8 when he.
I had no problem with it. And I think it's still, like I said, when it comes to barbecue, it's still a acquired taste. Different strokes, once again, for different folks
I
when it
agree.
comes to it. For me personally, I prefer the creamy, but my guy John, he prefers the crunchier. He doesn't mind the longer strands and things of
Right.
that nature.
Right.
So that's the beauty about barbecue. It's not a knock to say you don't like something,
Oh no, not at all.
as opposed to understanding the fact that different taste palettes are completely different
For
for
sure.
different people.
For sure.
And that makes it good. So you focus on what's good to you.
Are we in halftime right now?
Right.
Nah, we just keeping it moving. We just flowing with it.
So then let's move on to this potato salad, because I know we're gonna have a difference here.
I think the potato salad lacked flavor.
Okay.
I knew it was potatoes. And I knew it was a salad. But I just think that they didn't have, you know, and it's kind of hard to explain because when you dip into a potato salad, I also noticed there's different colors. So I guess it would depend on the content that you put in your potato salad.
Sure.
Because I know the yellower ones, what I believe they use
More
mustard
mustard-based, yeah.
mustard base, and then the whiter potato salad, I don't know what the base is behind it.
Hellman's salad dressing or mayonnaise usually.
See, I'm used to more of the mustard side.
Okay.
Potato salad with eggs chopped up in it.
Yeah.
Things of that nature.
You get that was that paprika?
Paprika is a red.
Right.
Is a red seasoning.
So I'm used to that for a side where I eat and the functions in which I eat. This one didn't really have that. It was more geared along the mayo side, the salad dressing side.
I would
Because
say
I
it
wouldn't
was
think
more
it
on
had
that
mustard
side.
in it.
Well, I think it had some yellow where I've never seen one that was straight one way or the other. So I would say this had a standard potato salad, regardless of where you're from or how they make it, has some of both. But I would agree that this was probably heavier on the mayonnaise side.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. I agree with both of you guys. That's what I got from the potato salad.
Now, Clee, you sound like you weren't a real fan after you skipped me like a bum. That gives me time to talk. You sounds like you weren't a fan of the potato salad.
I knew that.
You
got the same.
Hold
same
up. We're going to have to
card,
stop.
Same
You
color.
cannot throw two cards.
It's the same card. I can't.
It's
No.
the same color. Yeah, you can.
Same color and same number.
I skipped you. He threw the 5 out. He can't throw 2 5s out.
No, he can't.
Stop cheating. Man, where you learn how to play Uno? That's like me having about 7 or 8 nines and here like, brrr,
Yeah.
boss. hit that in the comments. Can you add, because it's the same number?
If I got 2 yellow 5s, that can be put down.
False.
No, it cannot.
Man, get that out of here, man. Cheat. Go ahead.
But put down at least 1 5.
Yeah, man. It's like cheating, right?
I thought the potato salad was good. I thought it was well seasoned. I comment a lot about potato salads on this tip. If your potatoes are crunchy, if it's not cooked right, then flavor, that's it at base of cooking. How the ingredients cooked, flavor. That's a good combination of the both. But one will distract me from the other, kind of like the sausage maybe for you.
Right.
The cooking of the potatoes was good, and I personally, because I like mayonnaise-based potato salads, I personally love the potato salad. It wasn't too bland for me. It had enough salt. I maybe could have used a little bit of pepper or a little bit of paprika, maybe even some cayenne to like give me a little bit of spice to balance it all out. But I thought the potato salad was good.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It wasn't bad, but just a acquired taste.
Right.
Sure.
I wouldn't deter someone from getting it.
Not
But it's
at all.
good to understand what type and what style you're getting into.
Sure.
And
prior
plus,
to.
And plus, when you eating barbecue, potato salad is one of those dishes that, I guess, in a sense, kind of, you're getting all this fat content in, and then you got your potato salad. Okay, this is, in a sense, like, all right, let me get a little bit more healthier on
Right.
my potato
Kind of
salad.
like the coleslaw too.
Right.
Yeah.
So it kind of balances it out a little bit. So, what about the cheesy potatoes?
Bro,
Shaking
Scott,
his head again.
you throw cheese on anything, I'm about with it. I don't care what it is. When I dove into those cheesy potatoes when you first brought them in, I thought they was delicious. And it definitely went well with what I was eating at the time, in which I was eating some of those. I believe I was kind of bouncing between the ribs and the pulled pork. And then I just said, let me go ahead and grab a little bit of this cheesy potatoes and put it up. Delicious. Like I said, I would definitely recommend that one for my potato side from Scott's over the potato salad.
Gotcha.
I would recommend that for me.
Gotcha.
But if you want something a little bit cooler, it wouldn't go with it. So I would probably, if my combination was to be a combination of warm and cold, I would probably go with the cheesy potatoes, and then I would do the coleslaw
Okay.
as opposed to the cheesy and the potato salad. I wouldn't do it that way.
Also gives you 2 different textures as well.
Yeah, and for me, cheesy potatoes,
Whose
I-
bowl is it?
when I think
Yours.
of cheesy potatoes, I like the more scallop potatoes.
Oh yeah.
You try it.
Or either
It's actually his turn. So
Try it.
what color?
right as I'm talking, I'm like you. I ain't drawn until I talk about these cheesy potatoes.
Great.
But I'm more of like scallop type of potatoes when it comes to cheesy potatoes, or mashed with Scott's potatoes. They were kind of like, I don't
Cubed.
know, cut cube type of deal, and they didn't really deteriorate the taste, but I don't know. I think my taste buds was expecting a little bit something different, just
Sure.
because I think that cube potato kind of changed my taste buds up a little bit.
I got
So
you.
it's just for me, like I said, when I eat cheesy potatoes, I'm usually eating scalloped or mashed or type of deal. And that was my
Loaded
first.
potato with some cheese on top.
So
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't tell either of the guys this on the ride back. I'm from Wisconsin, so or my dad's side of the family's from Wisconsin, so cheese is like in my blood. Like it's I'm equal parts. The potatoes were good. They were cooked well. Goes back to the potato salad thing, but it wasn't cheesy enough at all. Like you could have had that stuff drowned in it, and it would have been good. But it wasn't. There was not enough cheese on it for me. It didn't have a strong enough cheese flavor. That might come down to the choice of cheese that's being used, with various types. But for me, it needs a little bit of help in the overall cheese flavor if you're going to call something a cheesy potato.
Finally,
And then
go ahead.
and usually with the cheese, did he have some green peppers on there, or was it?
I didn't see any greenery or anything on there
Oh,
that
okay.
would kind of
At least,
change it.
yeah, that didn't change the flavor dynamic.
Right.
I didn't feel anything.
You were going to say finally. Finally
Yes. Anybody knows a good barbecue.
what? Okay.
She gotta have some good beans.
Okay.
Gotta have some baked beans. So we're gonna get to the baked beans aspect of it.
Did you draw your 8?
I did.
And it's what? It's red?
It's red.
Okay, there you go.
Scott, your baked beans were unique.
Very unique.
Very unique.
Very unique in the sense of I've had baked beans with hamburger meat crumbled up in it. I had baked beans that's been sweet. I have baked beans that's been standard.
Hot.
Hot
Had
baked
spicy
beans.
baked beans for sure, yeah.
Yours forced me to evaluate how I look at beans.
Oh wow, that's a heavy statement.
Because what I did was when I took a bite of it, the first thing I thought was, hold up, am I eating beans? I was like, hold up. Because I'm used to, like I said, sometimes your baked beans are really a thick consistency too.
Sure.
This wasn't as thick.
Right.
It wasn't runny, but it wasn't thick.
Right.
And then I started tasting different flavors that I wasn't used to tasting, and it was a fruity flavor.
Right.
I just couldn't call it. I was like, hold up.
Yeah.
What is this flavor I'm tasting in this?
I thought it was pear.
See, I didn't think it was pear. I'll be honest with you. I was pushing to. I was like, is this an apple or some type of fruit from a tree? I knew it was, it's something that you pull off.
Right.
So I was like,
It definitely felt like a heartier fruit, whatever it
right.
was.
And the flavor, it was subtle, to where when you pair that with the spice and the bark of the rib and the things of that nature, and then you kind of slide a little bit of that in while you're eating the pulled pork and that sweet, it molds together very well.
I think so too.
I thought the baked beans, the way that he's created them, mold very well with the way he does his barbecue.
Agreed.
I don't think anybody else's beans could be able to slide into his barbecue and taste the same way that his beans go with
not
his
at all.
barbecue.
He keeps his, from his meats to his sides, it's a consistency, you know.
Yeah.
With you know, when you tasting one part of his meal, you know, you can tell like he's getting
He
his
wants it all to
his
go together,
recipes,
right?
His recipes is he's got his own
His fingers
cookbook.
on it.
Yeah, he's
His
got
fingers
he
on
got
it.
his own cookbook for sure. So
Yeah, he definitely has his own cookbook. They definitely all go together. As far even for the things that we were just kind of like, I don't know about this. It all seemed to belong on the same plate. It was never like, hey, why is this on here? Like, why would you serve this at a barbecue restaurant? I didn't have any of those questions about what everything we ate today.
Right.
and with the baked beans, he actually told us that it was, you know, apple
Pie.
Apple pie filling.
Apple pie filling. So, hey, if that's something you'd be interested in, it's I think that's something that you should just try.
Right.
You know, that's how unique it is.
So, moving on to the last little, these are more like add-ons, and I do not eat pickles of any kind. What did y'all think of the pickles? Like, because you checked that out last, you know,
yeah.
but
Loki forgot about it.
I mean, you went back for a few, right?
Yeah, I went in and dominated those pickles. I'm a pickle guy, but I've tasted terrible pickles.
Right. And
Where you're like, oh my goodness, and you just throw them back up there. I enjoyed your pickles. Once again, the uniqueness behind, you think he's slick. He just slowly getting rid of cars. The uniqueness behind Scott's ability in barbecue is Scott.
mm-hmm.
First of all, I want to give a big shout out to Scott.
Yeah,
As management
absolutely.
of this facility, he took the time out to actually speak to us as customers.
Mm-hmm.
He took the time out to actually talk to us as just regular people,
And not just high and by. It was like,
Right.
hey, I can stop and have a conversation with you.
a real conversation,
Yeah.
real talking, the way we would talk as if we was at a barbecue for a family reunion, and that's what we really appreciated. So that, along with me,
Goes a big,
the
long way.
level of how I would recommend people to come up there.
Really, he showed something that's really past the food. You know,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Like a care for his customer type of thing.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
So, with all that being said,
Let's not forget about the beverages.
nothing
Uno.
wrong with washing down a beverage. I mean, washing down a great plate with a good beverage. I've had terrible beverages. Terrible, and they made my
Haven't
meal
we all?
terrible. Nothing like a flat Coke.
Man,
It will kill your meal.
Nothing like a Coke that's not flat, but the syrup has run out. Like,
It
hey,
will
thank you for the
kill
carbonated
your
water.
meal.
Like,
and my beverage is I got a tricky, scary beverage. I got a sweet tea. So, that's something you can be highly disappointed in if you get it at certain places. But with you guys' sweet tea, it was sweet. It wasn't too sweet, but it was perfect. Honestly, it was perfect.
And the half and half, fantastic. Never knew, typically we're used to the half and half
Are we doing infinite or draw
until
one?
you can play.
Nah.
Cool. Skip you two then. Uno.
Keep
Oh,
going.
no way.
Oh my goodness. That's how I feel about
Thank you.
everything. But now going back to it, like I said, the Arnold Palmer was delicious.
It was.
Like I said, a perfect blend of that sweet tea. And you even managed to utilize some bottled lemonade to mix in it. It was still made it perfect.
Does that detract for you?
No.
Like, from the overall experience, the fact that it's a home cooked meal, but bottled lemonade.
Nope. Because it was still delicious.
Okay.
That's kind of one of those things when it comes to drinks, unless you making Kool-Aid. I mean,
Brent,
ain't too many things.
I got a question for you. Where's the blue and the green cards in this?
I
deck?
was wondering why. Funny thing, I was wondering why ain't no blue
Man,
or green in
hold
here.
on.
There's another deck.
Bruh!
I figured we was running low on cards and stuff too.
Hey, Uno, we done played a whole 2 games, which don't count, by the way.
Yes,
Thank
they
y'all.
do. Stop it.
Yeah, they
Without
don't.
2 colors.
No,
Yeah,
that's a
don't.
dub. Stop
With
it.
2 colors
I don't
missing
want my
stop
dub, bro.
from the deck.
I'm taking it.
He's cheap.
Nope.
He's
I was
cheap.
wondering, what you doing?
But on a serious note,
How we do that?
to finalize this thing for our first episode, I'll start with myself. I enjoyed every bit of this trip.
Okay.
Likewise.
Me too.
I enjoyed every bit of the experience at Scott's Kitchen.
Yep.
From the food, which, like I said, typically when you're thinking barbecue, you always start with the ribs. From the ribs
Burnt
down,
ends, yeah.
burnt ends, pulled pork. If I was to put together a number from 1 to 10, 10 being the best, I would have to put Scott at least. I give him an 8. I give him an 8. 1 to 10, I give him an 8. And typically, it's hard to find somebody perfect. I'm sorry.
Sure.
It's hard to find somebody perfect. But the reason why I'm giving him an 8 is because I truly believe, like I said, the experience of that brisket.
And
1 out of
And
5
brisket
meats.
kind of, 1 out of 5 meats kind of shuffled it.
And it's a matter of perception.
Burning.
Right.
Off
And
the chain.
then
I think
Burn.
we forgot to hit on.
We might have forgot to talk about burn ends, but they
Burn ends
were
was fantastic. I'm
fire.
sorry. Sorry about
like
that.
I need to bring my wife. My wife eats only burn ends. Need to take her back there. Type of thing.
Just quick hit on it. I was cutting it with a knife just to take my time with it. I could have easily just popped them in, but I was taking my time with it. It was that good.
I
Yeah.
apologize. I don't know how we could forget.
Yeah,
burn
yeah,
ends.
Yeah.
I apologize to you, Scott.
Same.
But it balanced out a little bit with the sides because there were a few sides that I did enjoy. There were other sides that, not necessarily that they were terrible, but not my preference.
Okay.
So that kind of balanced out a little bit, and then I washed it all down with an Arnold Palmer. So
So-
me personally, I give it an 8, and I definitely give it a show me recommendation that anybody that's wanting to try any type of barbecue outside of the Fave 5, what we would call it, or the well-known 5, I would recommend
Fab 5.
you taking a trip up to Scott's Kitchen
Most
and
definitely.
trying their barbecue. Definitely the ribs. I'm definitely on for ribs.
I think I told Ray and Clee this. We eat out a ton. In fact, probably more than we should as far as my pockets are concerned. But I eat out a lot. We talk about a rating system, called Show Me Badges, which we're working on. Clee's given it an 8 out of 10 and a strong recommendation. I give it a strong recommendation, but I'm at a 7 out of 10. And it's little things that, for me, could improve the experience. The sausage could be spicier. The drinks, I'm a homemade person. If you're giving me a homemade experience like barbecue, I don't want bottled lemonade. There's nothing wrong with it, but that's my personal preference. And just some of the seasoning overall, like I give it a 7 out of 10 and a strong show me recommendation myself.
Strong show me recommendation for me as well. I give it an 8, or 8 out of 10. And that's room to grow. I think Scott, what you guys are doing over there, I see a lot of potential.
Absolutely.
And I definitely hope and pray that your business flourishes, which I know it will.
Agreed.
But as far as the food overall, You know, no complaints. I think like my bro said, the seasoning. You know, there's always room for improvement, and just from the conversation that we had with you, I believe that you are a humble man, and you showed a lot of humbleness talking to us. So, you know, I know for sure that you're going to be getting better with everything. I know you're not going to stop working, because you actually mentioned it. You told us that you're a workaholic, which I appreciate out of somebody who's serving in the business that you were in. So. Yeah, 8 out of 10, and I think if we ever get a chance to visit you again, it'll change, and I know it will. So.
Well, that's it for today's first episode. We appreciate y'all joining in with us on this journey. Once again, the name is Scott's Kitchen, up by the airport. We all recommend that you show some support, go out there and enjoy some fine barbecue. Until next time.